about to start tackling the kitchen, we remembered that we've got to do the door, sliding door, before we do that. We're scratching our heads whether to go and buy some more thin plywood, but then we realised we had an abundance of hygiene board left. So we didn't have a section big enough to do it in one bit, but we had a bit of a brainwave that you need to be able to remove the door card without stripping the kitchen out. Now, there's no point in making the whole lot removable because you can't get to the back of the door with the kitchen there anyway. So we figured we might as well do the door card in two separate sections. So we've done the door card in two separate sections. To remove it, the smaller bit, we'll get to the main mechanics of the door handle and stuff like that. We won't be able to remove the back section, but you can't get in the back section with the kitchen units anyway. What I've done is I've got another bit of hygiene board and UPVC glued it to the back of the other bit to create a lip for this bit to sit onto. That bit's upside down, that bit's the right way around. So that bit will be on the inside. Now, don't fear, we're not going to leave it white, we're going to carpet it and everything like that. The window frame on the door is carpeted, so once this is carpeted, it'll all look nice and attractive. But it was just a bit of a panic stations as to what to do before we fit the kitchen. It's getting late and we didn't want to have to rush off and go and get some thin plywood, and like I said, you can't get much thinner than this hygiene board. Gets the stock used up rather than kicking around the house. So we'll show you in a bit once we've got it carpeted before we fit it. So we've got the bits all carpeted. That'll all sit nice and neat. Now I'm trying to save as much carpet as I can for doing the back doors. And this bit's got a black mark on it, but that's going to be behind the kitchen unit, so I'm not too bothered. I might even be able to scrub that out yet, I don't really know what the black mark is. But we put it as low down as we could get it, and it'd be behind the kitchen units. And that will sit like that. And then when we want to get any access to the sliding door, we can just unscrew that one panel. Like I said, you could do it so you could remove the whole panel, but you're not going to be able to get to anything down this end anyway because the kitchen units would be there. So you're sort of making a bit of a rod for your own back there. But it sort of answers our problem. We didn't have enough material to do it in one bit, so we did it in two like that. You got that lip there that panel will sit on, and just give it some reinforcing and stop it from sort of separating. But I think once it's all screwed on, it'll look all right. So we'll get that fitted and then we can crack on with the kitchen. So we'll show you that. And this is a shout out to Rod Gilmore for checking out our YouTube channel. Thank you very much. We'll see you guys next time, and I'll show you what we do next, so stay tuned. Okay, so we've made a start on getting the kitchen in. We've cheated a little bit. We've used B&Q kitchen units, and then we're going to clad the outside in thin plywood and tongue and groove effect it with the router, just to make it look like, so from this angle it'll make it look like hand built, but we haven't. But there's a stand up that's going to go here. That will stand up and be rounded off, just to give it a bit of a wind deflection to the cooker and just things like that when we get the door open. Hence why there's a bit of a lip there, because that's where the stand up will go. This bit of wood is bowing because of that pillar, but you can't really tell from the inside. If I can show you, it doesn't really show that it's bowing, so that'll be fine. I've done the first coat of Osmo oil. It's teak wood, solid teak wood. It's reasonably heavy, but we weighed the veneer chipboard stuff and there wasn't a lot in the difference. And I prefer the look of real wood. Though it's shiny now, that will dry to a matte, a bit like the one over there. That's all oiled and stained. That's got about 5 coats on it. This will have about 5 coats on it as well. I've took a bit more time prepping this one sanding it down to 320 grit, which has really made it smooth, really smooth. So by the time that oil soaked in, and I'll give it a 600 grit sand, and then I'll do a few more coats. Debbie and myself have been crafting really hard all the weekend to get this done, absolutely busting a gut to get it done for NC 500 in a couple of weeks. So once the oiling's done, we'll get the sink plumbed in. So we've got the little hole there for the tap, big hole for the sink, and there for the cooker. We got the Thetford cassette, we got the Thetford XXX oven, as you saw in previous YouTube videos that I got for an absolute steal. It's coming along nice, we're chuffed to bits. Gonna make a little cupboard door on the back there that we can access when the door's open, just to utilise the space under the cupboard really. It's a bit of a wasted space, but I don't know what we'll put in there. Yeah, Debbie and her shoes. So whether we'll put electric hook up there or shoes, Debbie, we'll put something in there. But anyway, it will get brought down with some thin ply all the way down to the step, and then it will get made to look. But this is where the fridge is going, end on, because our fridge is dual opening. We can get to it from outside and from inside the van. So if we're outside with the gas barbecue or caddock, we can lean in and grab a beer. Same if we're in the inside of the van, we can open it that side. So once all this is done, I'll cut an opening in there and recess the fridge in there. I think it'll all look quite nice once it's all done and all that. And then regarding this edge there, you see the corner piece that we put on the shower unit. Well, that'll go on there. Just trying to find the piece. Can't find it now. But anyway, you'll see it in future videos. There'll be a nice corner piece on there that will hide the edge and make it all look nice and pretty. Here we go, look, Debbie's on it. So that'll go on there like that and hide the edge once the ply line's gone on both faces. Might try and kick the fridge over a fraction, because I'd like to put the light switches in there for the under counter kitchen lights and for the main lights that go in the extractor fans, the little LEDs, so that when we come in we can switch them on and we can see where we're going. Yeah, sorry I didn't do much filming. We're absolutely against it on timeline, so forgive me for not filming and showing you what I've done, but it's been an absolute minefield of problems and things like that, and where to screw these units into the floor. I bought this glue called The Business, and it is really good glue. So where I didn't feel safe screwing, I've glued the wooden battens to the floor. You can see this glue here. You won't see none of that, but that glue, when it goes off, you would break the floor before you got that off. So I've got no fear of that being an issue. As you saw in previous videos, the water pipe kinks out to a certain point, goes around the kitchen units. So not long past this, it's been screwed anyway. It's only this end, sort of 7 or 8 inches, that's glued. It's just belts and braces really. The units have all been glued to each other with the Business glue as well, and screwed. I've still got to put some screws into the wall to secure it, because obviously if we have to have an head on, and we don't want all that weight coming forward. But we're going to start on doing some more coats of oil, and then we'll get plumbing the sink, etc. in, and we'll show you what we get to. So are you happy with that, Deb?
Really happy.
Yeah.
Actually means we can also do some cooking videos to prove what you can cook
That's right, and we're off to Van Life Eats Big Picnic, so we can show our cooking skills, can't we, a bit more?
Yeah.
Yeah, not that we're master cookers, but we do like to cook.
You can cook anything in a van. There's
Yeah.
no excuses. And along our journeys, we will bring you to cook everything and anything.
Absolutely, yeah. So we'll catch you guys in a bit and show you a bit of an update towards the end of the video. So, got the worktop fitted, sinks fitted, taps fitted, got the cooker slot put in. So the cooker will sit there. It's a Thetford XXX. That's plumbed in, but I haven't put the waste through the floor yet. I'm going to put the waste inside the van, but underneath the cooker unit, the kitchen units, to minimise the risk of it freezing in the winter. Just fitted this just now. I had to router in that groove. So basically what I did is I put that bit of wood up against the seal, kept stenciling it or scribing it until it fitted nice. Then I measured the distance between here and here, which is 30mm, and then I measured how deep that was, which is 5mm, and then I set my router to 5mm, and I kept on doing pass after pass, and then finally tuning it, and then I sanded it in order to get it nice and neat. Then I rounded that over just to bring it back in because it's slightly thicker than that pillar, but it's nice and rounded. And then regarding staining it, I went over with 180 grit on the raw wood. Then I rolled some Osmo oil onto it. That Osmo oil is fantastic. Rolled on some Osmo oil, and then I let that dry 24 hours. Then I 320 gritted it, sanded it, another roller coat. Then I went over with some 500 grit after that had been drying 24 hours. Then I went over with some 800 grit, and then I used a fleece material to polish buff it. So I used a fleece material, and I dabbed it in the Osmo oil, and then I circular motioned, polished the oil into it, and then when it was dry I went over with some 3000 grit, another polish coat, and then when that was dry I went over with a dry fleece just to buff it again. Now it is a satin finish, I'm not trying to get it glossy, I just wanted it smooth, and that is baby smooth. I did the same with that, and then when I fitted it I put brown silicone sealant in the gap, and then when I screwed that on it oozed out the excess, and then I just cleaned it back, so that's now watertight in that gap. Regarding down here, I'm going to ply line it up to here with some 12mm ply, which will bring that pillar there level with that, but I'm only going to bring the 12mm up to about here, just a little strip of 12mm, and then I'll use some 3mm ply to take it all the way up to this bit, and then I've got some nice tile effect splashback that's going to go on there. I've still got to bring my 230 volt, recess that in there, and my plug socket. I don't know whether to do it as far back here. I was going to do another one this end, but it's a bit close to the water for my liking, so I'm going to do one that end, and then what I might do is put a plug socket on the back of the kitchen unit, so that when the door's open, if we want 230 volt we can do it, but it'd be right down, and then that'll be that. So the next stage then is I want to clad this end and the back of the unit in plywood that's been routed out to make it look like tongue and groove. Then once that's done, I'll French my fridge into the end, because like I said, it's a dual opener, so I can open it either way. And then once that's all Frenched in, I'll give it a sand down and give it a lick of eggshell white, just to make it match, you know, all this wood, so it'll look like this. And then the kitchen will look hand built. It won't look like I've been to B&Q and cheated. All the cupboard doors are going to be hand built. They're going to be like an aqua blue, which is, excuse all the dust on the bed sheets, so it will be washed, but it's like an aqua blue. So that'll all the cupboard doors will be painted similar colour to this. So that'll about do for now. It's not the end of the video, but stay tuned and I'll show you the next stage. Okay, so I've made a start on foil taping the oven bay, because we all know how crap them Thetford ovens are. You know, they take forever to do even the simplest of things. So I thought if I reflect that heat back in with the foil tape, I'm giving it an extra little bit of help to reflect that heat and hold the heat back in the oven. I've put some extra thermal tape around the oven. It's got a thermal jacket around it already. So I've put some more thermal tape, foil tape around this jacket. I've also put it around here. All this is going to be sealed in yet, and then there'll be more going over the bottom, just to hold that heat within the oven section. It is probably a waste of time, but I figured while I'm here, might as well do that. Not only that, I've got some conduit running along the back there. It's a good 50mm away from the oven, so I'm not too concerned, but I thought I'd wrap that, and that's what spurred me on then to do the rest of it. So I can now drop the oven in after I've done this bit and the bottom, and trim back this ugly edge of the foil tape. I don't know, I'm sure you guys would tell me that it's a waste of time, but it's not hurt to put it in, so I've done it. So there you go. So I'll put the very thin ply line with the tongue groove on the end, just neat up. I've got put some edging around here, just to neaten up this edge, frame off the fridge. Now a lot of people are going to ask why we put the fridge on the end. Well, when we're outside we can get food and beers. When we're inside the van we can get food and beers. As I showed before, this is all Wi-Fi and app controlled. It's bigger than you think. It goes back, way back here. Even though it's not very tall, it's very deep. I cladded this back in thin plywood as well and routed it out to make it look like tongue groove. Then on the edge here, we're going to put, like on the edge of the shower there, same trim, paint it white, and that'll then hide the edge. And there'll be a cupboard there. Putting Debbie's surplus shoes that she keeps reminding me she wants somewhere to put. Put a power socket down there. So that's running 230 volt when the inverter's on, or when we're on shoreline. There's another, we put a splash back in. We're away in Scotland at the minute. There's another 230 volt when it's on the inverter or electric shoreline. We've got this splashback here. That's all one piece. Just still got a seal in. I've sealed in along the edge there at the top and down the back. Just got a seal in along there, but we're up against the clock. We're going away to this NC 500 tour. That's all fitted and stained. Like I said, that's all been routed out so it fits nice and neat down there. That's all been radiused over, and then it all fits nice and neat around the seal. And I have checked, I can still get that seal off should I ever want to change it. So I'm well chuffed for that. I could put a little bit of caulking in there just to hide that little gap there. It's nothing major, but I'll do all that when I get home. Put the trim on there, caulk that, And also when I get home, I've got to put an edging trim on there just to hide the edge. White UPVC sort of L-shaped edging. So that's, I mean, the oven's on now. We've got crispy potatoes, meatballs, pasta bake and stuffed mushrooms. That's in our Thetford oven. Like I said, I foil taped inside that oven bay, and I tell you what, I've put a thermometer on that. That is no warmer there than what it is down there, or from what it is on the other side, miles away from the cupboard. So that thermal tape, foil tape rather, has reflected the heat back in the oven, and that oven gets up to temperature really quick. So I'm pleased I did that. I think that helps maintain that heat in the oven so much better. We've got cold water, hot water on the mixer. I took the waste pipe in the void into the fridge units, so it's internal to the van as much as it can. Then it goes out to the floor into the waste tank. Yeah, so that's the kitchen installed. Next process is all the cupboard doors and the cupboard doors to the front here. We've just put storage containers in. And what we're going to do here is I'm going to thin ply line that, but I'll put a vent gauze on there so it can suck air in and out. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to shelve it and then put a drawer here just for extra usage. I can't put a drawer on that side because the waste pipe goes through that shelf, so that'll just be somewhere you can shove things like this. But that'll be a drawer here, even though it's down low. I wanted the fridge as high as I could, but this will all be shelved, and we can put our salt and pepper, sauces, spices for when we're cooking. We do like to cook. And then when the cupboard door's on there, we can just open it, get all our spices, and I mean that will hold probably 50 spices, so we shouldn't have no shortage of spices, and it will hide the side of the fridge as well when you open the door. It just makes use of that because it will leave 60mm gap, and the spice container is only about 45-50mm. So that's going to come out nicely. That area there is going to have a drawer on it for pots and pans. The section at the end will have a cutlery drawer on, and then it's shelved out above the spare wheel well, so the bottom there isn't as deep as above the shelf. The shelf sort of sits on top of the spare wheel, and then I backed to box in the spare wheel. It's all insulated in over the spare wheel as well before I put the shelf in, so the spare wheel well, the wheel well's all insulated, so that keeps that warm. And then when I do the gas locker, I'll box in the back of the wheel well and insulate that as well. I've got to put a cupboard door on there, so all the cupboard doors will all match. I've still got to do a strip light under here yet and wire that in. But as far as the kitchen's concerned, it's done, apart from the units and drawers. So if you like what you're seeing, please like, please subscribe and please share. If you really feel like it, hit that little bell icon. You'll get to see on our future videos. And on that note, we'll see you on the next one.